Now, after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated that Israel will move ahead with its operations in Rafah and capitulating to Hamas's demands would be a terrible defeat for his country and a great victory for Hamas. In the latest, the Israeli army has called on Gazans living in Eastern Rafah to head to an expanded humanitarian area inside Gaza Strip's Khan Younis and Al-Mawasi area. According to the IDF, this expanded humanitarian area includes field hospitals, tents, and increased amounts of food, water, medication, and additional supplies. Israel says some 100,000 Gazans are being evacuated from Eastern Rafah, further adding that calls to evacuate will be conveyed through flyers, SMS, phone calls, and media broadcast in Arabic. Israel issues these guidelines ahead of an expected military operation in the southern Gaza city. The order comes after a night of intense Israeli bombardment on Rafah, hours after Hamas rockets killed 3 IDF soldiers. According to Hamas's health ministry, the Israeli airstrikes killed at least 22 people, including 6 women and 5 children. One of the child was just 5 days old. According to reports, at least 9 people were killed in a single strike that hit a residential house. The Israeli military has confirmed the counter-strike, saying it struck the launcher from which Hamas's projectiles were being fired, as well as a nearby military structure. Following the Israeli airstrike, wounded Palestinians were taken to a nearby hospital. Now, correspondent Jody Cohen has more on this.
So the short answer is no or not yet. The IDF are using flyers, phone calls and text messages to call on civilians to temporarily evacuate some neighbourhoods in Eastern Rafah. That's after Hamas carried out a rocket attack from Rafah targeting the humanitarian aid crossing at Kerem Shalom that killed 3, stopped aid getting to civilians and put thousands of civilians at risk. Monday's Holocaust Remembrance Day in Israel, and Foreign Minister Katz suggested that Hamas uses the same methods as the Nazis, hiding behind civilians while targeting civilians. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Hamas is guided by the same goal as the Nazis, to wipe out Jews, that no amount of pressure will stop Israel from defending itself, and that never again is now. But Israel has indicated that it wouldn't go ahead in Rafah if Hamas releases all the hostages and surrenders, or that Israel would delay the operation in Rafah if Hamas agrees to release some of the hostages.
Now, reporter Jody further explains what can be expected from the CIA chief's visit to Israel.
Yes, the CIA Director William Burns is travelling to Israel today for hostage and ceasefire talks. Officials are still waiting for Hamas's final response, and that's after indications that Hamas is sticking to its demands, which Prime Minister Netanyahu has called delusional. The US and UK have called Israel's offer in the talks extraordinarily generous, and US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the deal should be a no-brainer for Hamas, and that Hamas is the only thing standing between the people of Gaza and a ceasefire. But there are conflicting reports about the talks, with some saying that the deal is near collapse. Israel's Defense Minister Gallant has said that the signs are pointing to Hamas rejecting the deal, and he suggested that the Israel Defense Forces would launch a Rafah operation to target Hamas and look for information about the hostages there in the very near future. But US officials have denied that the talks are at an impasse, and on Friday Israel reportedly gave Hamas 1 more week to respond.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.